QuickBooks Online is not built for the layperson user. While they've made this software available to small business owners for affordable prices, and they have many tools that are useful for entrepreneurs, QuickBooks Online is an accounting software, and therefore you need to understand the basics of finance and accounting to keep your books using this app. This video is sponsored by the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit. This is an essential toolkit of videos, questions, samples, and resources to help you set up a bookkeeping system and stay on top of it for your business. The Bookkeeping Foundation Kit is $77, and you can purchase it by clicking the link in the description. As a bonus, I'm also offering 30 days free inside my private virtual community. That way, you can have support from me and my other clients as you work through the material. I have hours of live content and tutorials already in the group, and I go live twice a month for more Q&A and financial organization tips. I also host coworking on Zoom, and that is exclusively available to members of the community. These are kind of like a study hall where you can work silently alongside me on or off camera, and you can even bring questions and get support from me on the call. This week, I want to go over the basics of the QuickBooks Online software. I'm an advanced certified QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor, and I am a platinum tier level, meaning that I've helped a lot of people use QuickBooks Online for their businesses just over the past 2 years. But I've been doing bookkeeping for 10 years now, using QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online. But I also have a degree in math and physics, so I just love numbers. Combine that with my woo sensibilities, and I call myself the numbers witch. I have some coding experience, and my spouse is actually a software developer. My mom has been a computer programmer since before I was even born, and I'm 33 years old. So you could say it's kind of a big part of my life already, and even in my DNA, to understand how databases work. When it comes to understanding QuickBooks Online, here's how I want you to think about it when it comes to your bookkeeping. Number one, data exists. You are making and spending money in your small business pretty much every day. Hopefully you're making money every day, but most of us are spending money every day, and we have expense transactions and money going out of our accounts all of the time. And because transactions are happening, that means that data exists. It is creating a record of how you spend and make money. So in order to keep that record, we do bookkeeping. It is a requirement by the IRS. The records that we use in our bookkeeping get used to file our tax returns each year. So the data exists. So that means that we need to have a system to put the data in so we can at least use that data for our own purposes, such as setting and achieving our business goals, paying ourselves more, growing our businesses by hiring a workforce or expanding our offers. All those decisions come from your data, or at least I think they should come from your data. If you are an empowered, informed business owner, that means you're able to look at your bookkeeping and your numbers and use that to make those good choices. Number two, there is a quote-unquote natural way that data is being organized. And this is according to GAAP, or what's known as the Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Now, this is pretty much a set of rules for how we do accounting in the United States. Other countries may have slightly different rules, but this is what we use here in America. And GAAP informs us on how to treat the data, what to do with it, how to report our income and our expenses, and what's going on with our finances. So there is, and I say a natural way, that we organize our numbers or our bookkeeping, although numbers and bookkeeping don't appear naturally in any environment. We as humans created the system of finance and money and numbers and all of that to use it as information to describe what's happening in the real world, right? That's all that numbers are, that's all that data is, but we do have a way that we report those numbers and we report the facts of what happened with our money that we all agree on. So pretty much everybody is using these same money principles to report their finances. That means that I can look at anybody's business reports and expect to see the same kinds of numbers or the same sets of data, at least in how they are organized, across businesses, across industries. And then the third thing, and probably the most important part of thinking about QuickBooks Online, is understanding how that data is managed. And QuickBooks Online uses lists, and they make connections between entries across those lists. What the heck does that mean? If you're familiar with Excel or Google Sheets or any sort of spreadsheet system, you know that we have two dimensions of data. We have rows across the page in a spreadsheet, and then those rows are broken up individually into columns. Or you could say that we have columns that are broken up into rows. But each cell in a spreadsheet has 2 points of reference. We have the list of rows and the list of columns, and where they intersect is a cell. So that is kind of how QuickBooks Online manages their data too. It is a glorified spreadsheet on steroids. In QuickBooks Online, you need to understand that there are certain lists that you have access to edit and to add to or take away from, but that the lists are how your data is being described. It is in the details on those lists that we get accurate and complete financial reporting for your business. And that means that your books are going to be correct if you've put in as much detail into those lists as possible. Here are the key areas of QuickBooks Online that I think that you should set up first and familiarize yourself with. Number one is products and services. This is how you make money. This is what you sell to people. Whether you're selling a product, whether you provide services, whether you charge an hourly rate for your services, or you have a bundled option of products and services. Your products and services list is extremely important because if it's not set up the right way, it will report incorrectly on your profit and loss statement. If you are using QuickBooks Online, the first place I tell folks to look usually is the products and services list. And that is to make sure that all of your offers are outlined with their correct prices, whether or not they have sales tax applied. And once we get your products and services list correct, you can start invoicing people and making money. Beyond your products and services list, number two is your clients and customers list. This is the folks that are paying you money, and we got to have their information. It is important for the reporting and the record keeping that you keep tabs on who's paid you and how much. So having your clients and customers information is paramount to you getting paid on time, you getting paid consistently and correctly. So always double check that your customers and clients' information is correct. The third list that I always tell folks to look at is their chart of accounts. This is a list. This is a list of all the ways that you can categorize transactions in your bookkeeping. This also is where your bank accounts and credit card accounts live, which is where transactions happen, right? They happen when you swipe your debit card or write a check to somebody or use your credit card to purchase software online for your business. Your chart of accounts is where those categories live. It is how we classify or categorize how we make money and how we spend money and where that happened. So the chart of accounts is a super important part of your bookkeeping, and I argue it is actually the hub of your bookkeeping, the most important part. Because even if we get your products and services list set up correctly, that feeds into your income categories, which are on your chart of accounts. So if you have software sales and managed services because you're an IT management company, you need to have those products and services correctly reporting to those income categories on your chart of accounts. And I have a sample chart of accounts that I provide to you inside of the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit. I give you the templates to set up each of these lists on your own bookkeeping. And this helps to organize your data workflow, which means that things won't fall through the cracks anymore and your data will have more detail. Like I said, the more detail we have, the better, and you can never have too much detail. This will help you plan and achieve your business goals. So data management is a system that exists for your business, whether you like it or not. If you don't have a data management system, well, that is going to wind you up in a pretty bad place financially. Managing your data is necessary to learn how to do in order to use QuickBooks Online efficiently. And like we've already established, your data exists. You are transacting. You are selling things, you are spending money in order to sell products or provide services. The data exists, so we need to have a system to put it in. So let's now talk about that data management. What are we going to do with it, and how are we making sure that it's correct? There are 4 areas of QuickBooks Online that are key to helping you manage your data. The first area is going to be the templates. So in QuickBooks Online, especially if you're invoicing your customers and having them pay you through QuickBooks, we want to make sure that your invoice templates are set up the right way, and your estimates if you're using estimates. I'm going to go to the settings icon by clicking the little gear in the top right hand corner of QuickBooks Online, and under the left column where it says your company, you're going to click on Custom Form Styles. Now this is where all of your form templates are going to live. Like I talked about, your invoices, your estimates, even sales receipts. We're going to click on New Style in the top right corner, and I'm going to click on Estimate. From here, you can change the design of your invoices, adding your logo and using your brand custom colors and fonts. You can also change what kind of content prints out on your invoices. And probably the most important customizable feature of QuickBooks Online is the emails portion. So when you're sending a client their invoice via email through QuickBooks Online, we want to make sure that we have control over what that email says. What do we want our customer or client to know? Any sort of information about how they can make the payment is found here. And setting up a template saves you so much time in the future, right? If you have a certain type of client that is in a specific offer or program and they need to receive that invoice on a regular basis, we might want to include links in the email about where they can access the materials for that offer. So make sure that you are coming in here and adjusting and customizing your templates for your invoices especially, but also for the emails. Communication with your clients is very important. So customizing your emails and your communications will make sure that you have brand consistency, that your clients know how to contact you if they have questions. The next feature of QuickBooks Online that is super important once you get your invoice templates set up is to look at your recurring transactions. So here in QuickBooks Online, I'm going to go to the Transactions tab. And then at the very bottom of that list is a sub-tab called Recurring Transactions. And by the way, you can bookmark these tabs for easy access by just clicking the ribbon that pops up when you hover your mouse over any of the sub-tabs. By clicking that ribbon, it will now show up in your bookmarks bar, and you can just close the rest of the menu so you don't get distracted. In the Recurring Transactions tab of QuickBooks Online, we are able to set up a monthly recurring invoice, or you could set up a monthly recurring expense if you have something that costs the same and happens on the same day every single month. So I'm going to click on the green New button, and I'm going to tell QuickBooks to create a recurring invoice type transaction. From here, we can enter all of your customers' data. We can tell QuickBooks how to send emails and when. And once again, this goes a long way towards automating and organizing your bookkeeping. Think about any clients or customers that pay you on a regular basis, and if you can come set up a recurring invoice to make your job a lot easier, this is how you get paid faster and on time, by automating not only your side of the transaction, but giving your client the opportunity to enroll in auto pay and pay you on a consistent basis too. Now we're going to head over to the Rules sub-tab under the Transactions tab, which is where we're at right now. Because the third area of QuickBooks Online that is a key feature for automation is the bank rules area. Under our Rules tab, there would be a list of rules if they were set up inside of this sample company, but we're going to go ahead and set up one together. I'm going to click on the new rule, and then all you need to do is create a rule name. So you want to make something that is going to inform what this rule is for, maybe when it happens. You could put something like monthly phone bill. And then from there, we tell QuickBooks what criteria to look for this rule. We could tell QuickBooks only look at transactions in the checking account. I always change that to bank text, and I would include the bank text that normally comes on the bank memo, like Verizon, if you have a phone bill with Verizon. So every time QuickBooks sees Verizon in the bank memo, it's going to apply this rule. So I would tell QuickBooks to assign the category of the telephone utility, and I would also want to make sure that it put the Verizon payee as the vendor. I always tell folks to uncheck the auto add option because while QuickBooks might be applying rules, we don't necessarily want them to be adding transactions to our register for us without us reviewing them first. So now that my rule is set up, I'm going to save it. And then we see it in our rule list here. The rules are going to be applied in the priority order that they're listed here. And you'll be able to click these 9 dots and drag and drop your rules into the order that you want QuickBooks to apply them. You can always edit a rule or make a rule inactive. For instance, if you are no longer working with that vendor, but we can see this rule in action once we download our bank transactions into the bank feed in QuickBooks Online. But the rules are a great way to automate the data entry for us. We can tell QuickBooks to look for certain criteria for transactions and then to help us out with the categorization. This makes data entry so much faster and usually helps keep things correct. And finally, we're going to go to the Reconcile tab because reconciling your bookkeeping is the way that we check our work. Now, this is a sample company, so I cannot show you how to reconcile this account because I don't have a bank statement on me. This account doesn't actually exist. It's a sample company that QuickBooks Online provides to us so that we can show you their product. But I do have a step-by-step process on how to reconcile your bookkeeping and my top troubleshooting tips for when you get stuck on reconciliation inside the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit. Inside the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit, I guide you through these areas in your QuickBooks Online company. This helps us to automate the bookkeeping, which is what we all want, right? To save time and make more money. Automation means that you're clicking less buttons and giving yourself more time for sales and business growth, or maybe even taking a vacation once in a while. So grab your Bookkeeping Foundation Kit today by visiting the link in the description. You'll get immediate access to all the content, plus a free 30-day trial of my private virtual community. This is where I'm going live twice a month with more tutorials, content, and Q&A for my clients. We're all here to support you doing this work. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and if you found something useful in this video, tell me below in the comments what you learned. Please hit that like button because it really helps push my content to more business owners who seriously need help with QuickBooks Online. If you know a business owner who is struggling with QuickBooks Online, share this video with them because it could be super useful and impactful for them to grow their business. Get onto my free email newsletter if you are not already for even more goodies and information. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.